3% chance of winning. Because there are a lot of vibes that are really heavily against KT. For one, there is a guy in the Reddit thread, the post-match thread, saying cautiously excited. So thank you very much for that. KT's going to lose. HLE, pretty good when it comes to deciding games in a series.
Also, I think
the standings.
KT playing their best champions in that last game, even though I didn't necessarily like how it was going to go. Like, they played it to their mastery, right? We saw a perfect, great on the tank. He's not playing Rumble this series, which I think is his best champion. I think most people would agree, as that's banned again here in this third and final game. So I'm curious what KT puts together this time around, and how locked in HANWHA Life are, because that last game performance was not great, and the Skarner was definitely not working as intended. I love this Viego ban, because that's another one of Cuz's very, very strong picks that we've seen Niche picked here in the LCK, but Cuz gravitates towards it a lot because he likes to be that carry jungler guy.
There are not a lot of junglers left.
No.
Rumble could also be considered a jungler.
Technically.
But not in this meta. The Yone going to still be taken away here. It does make a lot of sense. Away from Zeka. But let's see what the first pick is going to be. I think Azir is certainly pretty high prio, and you need to take it away from BDD.
See if BDD is brave enough to play something like a Sylas into this, or even crazier like an Akali, because the mid pool is also pretty significantly thinned out, and the Corki is gone, Victor's gone, so
I think it has to be a Kalista something lock-in. I don't know whether you really want to lock in Kalista Renata right here.
It's risky. I mean, Nico is still available, of course.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And okay, Annie is going to be the answer here. Annie. Could still be a flex, although I don't know how I feel about Kalista Annie as a bot lane duo, but I think that the Kalista pick here is also relatively risky. Puts a lot of the weight on Duckdom's shoulders. We talked about how he's been much better as a utility AD carry player so far this season. Let's see what does eventuate out of this. Is Peanuts looking for his Sejuani. Tried and true.
Yep.
Heartsteel stacks. You know, he's tried to build a few of them last game around. Maybe we'll get a few more this time. There is no Yone available, but maybe we'll see the Jax come through this time.
Yeah, it could be Jax, could be Camille, something like that.
Renekton?
Renekton does get the job done as well. Gives you a bit more early power at the same time. Feels a bit more blind pickable.
Yeah, it's definitely of the stronger picks, I feel like is the most blindable, because it wins almost any matchup if you play it well. This is not what I expected, though.
And it's also not how I was expecting this round of picks to go, because I thought they'd be trying to deny a Renata lock-in by just picking Nico and showing that you can't do anything about it. But instead, KT are going to allow those picks to be banned? No, surely not. Surely they just lock in Renata here and ban Nico.
Well,
that's got to be the play.
I don't think Fiora is the R3 lock-in at this point in the draft.
I don't think Yorick is either.
I'm starting to wonder if this really is going to be Annie support.
Oh my god, it could be.
Yeah, like I was, saying I don't necessarily like it that much, but it's not the worst, and they are red side, so they get to kind of hold the flex, as the Yorick will get locked in. I think it's probably still a safe bet to ban Renata here if you're HANWHA Life Esports.
Yeah, I think you ban Renata Nico, and then it takes away a lot of the power of KT ROLSTER's bottom lane.
Yeah, Misfortune, I think, is a strong ban here. With this draft, Viper could opt for a Draven pick. I don't think it's out of the question, because you're playing into low-range Kalista. It's pretty good in the matchup. Like, it becomes a skill-based duo down there. They take the Renata away. Not really a shocker to anyone.
Yep, and I think the Nico is probably even more obvious as far as the ban is concerned, because Peter was so good at it. I'm looking at this Yorick, man. I'm like, if it doesn't say Morgan, like, on your nameplate, I'm not interested.
Yeah, same.
You know?
Do like the Xayah ban. Pretty safe into this composition. Very great scaling damage with the Azir you already have. So that makes a lot of sense to me. As you can ban just the Nico away here if you'd like to. Just take away some of that power. It's been one of Peter's best, frankly. Like, it's a great pick for Peter. He's been so comfortable with this. Yep, great for laning. And, if you want to pick it up yourself, too bad, because you're on blue side and you don't have pick Cryo. They'll ban the Alistar instead. So, unsurprisingly,
this Nico is like the snap lock-in is the most obvious thing in the universe. But I guess with the fact that Alistar was still up, like, they had 3 different options, right, going into that
Yeah.
ban phase. So it does make the Yorick pick look a little less bad than what I was expecting.
Oh, are we going Lucian Melio into Callista? Are we trying to make it work? Trying to make it a thing? Are we even so bold to go Lucian Nami? And I don't think so. That's not a thing
Surely
anymore.
That seems
All right.
a little bit rough.
I thought we were just gonna maybe see a scaling pick here instead. Like Zeri's still relatively safe. It's a tough matchup in the lane, but
Ooh, Elise.
this is risky. Like I feel like it's not bad, but it has to be really finessed.
Yeah,
And
you need to hold someone in place so that Peanut can land a prison, though. I kind of like that, the fact that you
It's
can
good.
fish with cocoons. But it does mean that they have only the Sejuani as far as frontline is concerned. And Cuz is looking at a J4. He's going to
Jarvan.
lock that one in. And Peanut has a little bit of a giggle at the whole situation.
I mean, it's got such insane synergy with the Nico. You know, Popeye, like Padawan's like orange looking and it's got a white belly.
What is it, chat? Let us know, chat, please. If you guys know... no, that's not what that is. Okay, let us know while we're doing the intro stuff. I want to know exactly what... It's Terriermon.
Terriermon, that's right.
There we go. Let's jump into the rift.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right, here we are under the rift for game number 3, the decider between KT and HLE. And I've got so many like Gyarados and Pikachu and Mewtwo, and you guys are actually just... It's just, you're not taking the question seriously. However, we did have a lot of the correct answer there in the chat as well, so we appreciate you.
Yeah, no, I was wrong because it's not the one that turns into Vima. I think this one's from Season 3 where they have like the cards in the show, and then it turns into
Whoa.
a big bunny with machine guns for hands.
There was definitely a lot of that. A lot of like the 3rd Digivolve forms, just like that plus guns.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. Do you remember Pal World, man? Where did that game go?
I didn't play that game.
Has it lost or won its court case yet?
I don't know.
I haven't been keeping up.
Last I heard, it didn't look good.
Oh, really? It started off not looking great as far as like things working and stuff like that is concerned. But it was an interesting concept.
Yeah.
Anyway,
believe
we
I
do have a
forgot.
little bit of an invade here from KT.
Yeah, I think I forgot Terriermon though. I'm disappointed in myself.
I wasn't really a Digimon guy. I sort of just did the Pokemon thing.
I mean,
I had a Tamagotchi.
Season 1 and 2 was what I was all about. Then, like, beyond that, Digimon got a little bit weird for me. I got a little bit older. I still, like, tuned in occasionally, but I wasn't really following, you know what I mean? But let's talk about the game again
All right.
for a minute, because
want.
I think Cuz, you know, he has, you know, a quite unique champion pool oftentimes, and he will pick things that other people aren't playing. It's been pretty standard so far this season, but the Nidalee first pick is one of those moments, right, where you're like, okay, I'm not sure about this, but I trust you. Jarvan, kind of the same thing for me. It's the first time he's playing it this season. It's the first time anyone's played it this season.
Oh, perfect. Okay, maybe Yorick is just busted. Never mind. Perfect and Morgan, they're the ones that are allowed. Peter maybe not allowed to play the Nico anymore. Never mind, he's a great Nico player, but he did take a lot of damage there. That didn't look too fantastically fun.
Well, you know, sometimes with Yorick, the only way to win the game is to not play and just not interact with him. But Zeus, sometimes he can't help himself, man. He likes to interact with him.
He does like to do that.
So that might have been what transpired there. We kind of missed the beginning of it, but looked very good for Perfect at the end. Not going to see any crazy level 3 gank from the Jarvan. Have seen that quite a lot in the past, but not going to happen in this game. I think the composition here for KT is very simple. Is set up a lot of circles, and then Ducktom closes the distance and puts spears in them.
Yep.
And Tibbers does big stun.
I reckon that has a bit of a vibe to it. That doesn't sound too bad. Keep the Maiden in the side lane and allow Perfect to put added pressure on as well. That could certainly be important as Cuz he's going to have his Grump stolen away perhaps. Delight coming on over here to see what's going on, and Cuz just moves in. Peter also making his way back to lane. And Cuz is just going to be able to defend his Grump. So that's the first bit of action outside of Peter taking most of his health bar in damage.
He has a stun prepped.
Yep, he is going to be able to get that one off onto Peanut here, just in time for Cuz to come on over. Flash needs to be employed as Peter did make his way in. He flashed for that one as well, though, so he could certainly be a target. As Delight very far away from his bottom lane.
Yeah, just not really 100% on board with the Peanut call there, considering the mid laner was not in the mid lane, and he was very nearby, and their mid laner was not anywhere nearby, so...
Delight. Delight is nearby. So is Viper, though, and they're flashing for it. Cocoon barely missing. And Perfect is just going to go down. That is first blood going over to Viper of all people. And just a little bit of an awkward position, given the fact that Viper made his way over just that little bit earlier.
Yeah, it looked like Delight was caught, but you know,
yeah,
he actually had some friends nearby. Viper is going to be able to pick up the first kill of the game, so pretty huge win for him, as he was able to get through the laning phase really well, and now actually has the faster lane swap topside here. You can see Duckdown and Peter trying to come over and catch the wave. Will lose some experience there. Perfect opts not to TP because he doesn't need to the bottom lane. So he does end up with TP advantage, but it doesn't really necessarily matter with Yorick because he doesn't really want to show up to team fights all too much.
No.
So I would give a pretty big edge to HANWHA Life off of that last play, even though moments before it looked pretty bad when Pete was forced to flash and nearly got taken out.
Yeah, it's starting to feel a little bit like the stats were kind of accurate as far as the win percentage chances for KT here in this game.
You said 0.68, was that what you said?
Yeah, as public execution going to be employed here towards Perfect, who takes half of his health bar, and Zeus is just going to continue zoning him away. Thankfully, the minions do run out.
2 levels down.
Yeah, and in comes Delight. He can drop turret aggro at any time, so Perfect is not going to have a good time if he sticks around, and that means a full wave is going to be eradicated. Now you do have Cuz moving in, and the Ghoulie wall looking to be frustrating here. Speeder comes down. So at least Perfect able to get into range of some of this experience.
I don't think you can make anything of this, KT. Perfect is going to TP now to the top side of the map, where hopefully he will get some farm. Maybe he'll get some time to kill the minions. Not looking great for a first dragon here for the side of KT ROLSTER. They do have a Jarvan here, though, and actually it's a bit of a late rotation from Viper.
All right, Peter going to get a snare onto Delight. He doesn't have a large health bar as he goes up into the sky, but the Spider does have to come down. So that is going to be a kill going on over to Cuz. A pretty happy Jarvan here who does want to get accelerated in this game.
I mean, Zeus didn't have ult, but he was also just not getting involved in that play, as Viper does show up now, but the rest of his team has left, so he had to commit to coming all the way down. He wasn't just going to stop halfway. So now there's no one dealing with top, although Zeus should be able to catch some of these.
God,
and it's just a free dragon.
Cute as well. The Ghoulie cat wall.
Yeah, I mean, it's the only Yorick skin you're allowed to play it.
It's pretty good. There have been some real weird ones that we've seen. I was always just like a play the pentakill skin, you know, and move on with your life. You know, the base player Yorick.
The staff that he wields has the like angry vein bulging symbol on it, you know?
Yeah, it's pretty
Because he's
good.
really mad and he wants to hit things. He's also mad that his cats keep dying. It's kind of messed up.
True, but they come back again.
That's true, yeah. No, it's okay,
So
but he's
totally
mad for
okay.
a brief moment. And then everything is okay. While he's mad, he just hits things with a stick.
Yeah.
And then they come back and it's okay.
Or a shovel. Do you remember that movie that had the superhero, the Shoveler, in it?
No.
I'm
going to say no.
I can't remember the name of the film. It is definitely an old situation, but it was a fantastic film. Oh, I just can never remember the name.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of shovels in film.
Yeah, well, this guy is his thing. He was actually the shoveler.
The shoveler.
His superhero power was to wield a shovel. I don't know whether that
feel
just
that
makes
way.
him a gardener or something, but I don't know.
I feel that way when I clean the litter box in the morning.
Yeah, well, Peanut feels that way right now as he is in a little bit of trouble, but the rest of his team's here to try and defend him. Good flash out from Cuz, but Zeus there to defend him immediately. Great knockup from the Fates Call, though, and they execute the Ambessa. And now Delight just has to try and bail out of it, but look, Zekker's also losing a trade here in this mid lane, and it's not over yet. There's the Cocoon landing, the Ren to slow down Delight, and a flash forward from Peter. He's not giving this Spider any way out. And KT back on the board in a big way.
Yeah, I feel like KT may be the team to punish HANWHA Life Esports. The plate goes over to Perfect here in the bottom side. They are winning everywhere.
And they just came off a 2-0 against DK as well. And we were attributing that mainly to DK not playing very well. And I think a lot of, there's column A, column B as far as that argument is concerned. But maybe KT, no.
Well, wait, hold on.
No,
Can we just mention that HANWHA Life Esports also have a little column A, column B in this one as well?
I think we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves.
Well,
I think when At the point where KT are going to MSI, that's when we'll probably be able to say that they're looking like a pretty good team.
Well, look at what Cuz is calling here, because he's waiting for the play to come through. He knows they're looking for the engage. He has flash. He calls it out, goes over the wall. Now, unfortunately for Zeus, he's way too far forward, and they can turn onto the Elise, even with the repel here well placed on the Krugs to get away. Cuz is calling it out moments before, and it's seeing KT do really smart things and be a 5-man unit that only comes around once in a while.
Yep, Delight gonna have to flash immediately here as well. They turn the cocoon onto him because Delight knows that he has no other way out. And it is now just the Goon Squad, man. They're just moving around, looking to try and take down everyone that they can find. It is going to be one of the grubs being taken here, but that is still going to be feats of strength able to go over to KT, or at least a third of one, as now Perfect just back into domination position here.
And KT will take the rest of the grubs, so at least Peanut was able to get one. He's also kind of hanging around here because Zeka has prio.
And it used to be that taking one of the grubs felt really good because you denied like the objective and all that sort of stuff, but now it's not the case anymore.
No, certainly not.
Good flash out. Yeah, good one there from Perfect. Identified the fact that Delight and Zeus together probably would be able to cause him a bad time. That's 50 got, and they managed to execute the Maiden.
Zeus is like, man, don't take my gold though.
Yeah, Perfect Maidenless once again. It's unfortunate.
It's okay though, because he's doing a good job in the laning phase. He's only a little bit behind. He had some pretty good plays so far this game already. Yep, Viper.
Oh dear. Well, Pop Blossom is going to come on through there, and Peanut comes on over, but Viper is already dead. So Peanut gets in there, throws out a thing, and then says, no, I will leave. And does so. Now Cuz coming on over, gets the flash out of Zeka, and then puts him in the Cataclysm. And he's just waiting for some way to get out. He is going to be able to do so as, oh my goodness.
Don't do it!
That's a tilt. Don't do it! He hits him with a flag and takes down the Azir. I really thought that Cuz was just going to somehow die in that situation.
Yeah, me too. I was like, no. I've seen too much Jarvan in solo queue.
Yeah, HLE fans looking a bit bemused by this whole situation.
This is a 3-0-3 Jarvan.
It is.
Now in this game. 6 out of 7 KP. He is quite large. He has the, one of 3 completed items on the Rift right now, the Sundered Sky.
I want to talk a little bit about the fact that Doctom has just had 2 really good games, or 1.5 really good games in a row.
I mean, he has, and I also feel like HANWHA Esports are really just not respecting KT ROLSTER, and KT ROLSTER have a composition to where if you overextended them, if you make a mistake into them, they're incredibly punishing, right? They have the Annie, they have the Jarvan, the Yorick, you give it, take it or leave it. But like into the Nico as well. Like if you overextend, you can't just go, oh, I cancel. Like I'm backing out. You just get wiped. You just get obliterated if you mess up the fight. And even with the Elise that's so slippery, you're just not that safe. Like Delight has died 3 times this game, getting caught or basically trying to bail somebody else out who was caught, because it's more valuable for him to die than somebody else. But either way. KT have built a huge lead, and Infernal Soul again.
You saw how quickly that dragon went down as well. The amount of damage on KT right now is kind of absurd.
I mean, they have a Callista, so objective control and objective speed is going to be in their wheelhouse.
I think their win percentage has gone up to about 5.7 now. I think we're actually at whole numbers. We're at whole numbers. It's pretty impressive here for KT. Right now, Perfect is in a little bit of danger, as we can see a Sejuani in the area. The bottom lane is moving on over, but I don't know whether they'll quite get here in time if they do decide to go for the dive. The shovel comes out as Peanut. Let's see whether they can actually finish him off before this bottom lane arrives. Peanut having to flash because the Ghoulie Wall caught him in a very awkward scenario, and Cuz, of course, going to get on in here. Public execution comes down, but Cuz, eyes on the prize, and is going to be able to take down the overgrown Poro. Peanut nowhere to go and will just be eviscerated. So Cuz continues the onslaught, 4-0-3.
Zeus down his ultimate now, but more importantly, Peanut flashed and still died, and they're looking for more here. I don't know if they should, maybe just a plate and get out, but
yeah, there's also a Lucian just taking a turret for free on the bottom side.
A bit of a concern. The Lucian taking a turret on the bottom side is a small problem, but ultimately he's not going to get the whole thing. There is at least one good bit of news for HANWHA Life, because that's in part what's keeping this gold so even, is the fact that Perfect hasn't been killing minions a lot. He's 40 CS behind Zeus, even though he had a few moments in this game where we're like, oh, can he kill Zeus? Or wow, he's controlling this lane. He really isn't actually in control of the matchup and has been kind of roaming around with his team a little bit is
Yeah, that's a bear. As Viper is not going to be able to at least fight back against BDD. Thankfully, not going to die just yet, as there is no first item completed yet for BDD. And you really do see that the Tibbers doesn't quite do as much of the burst damage as he used to.
no.
But especially not when the Annie isn't exactly...
Well, that's the one place too where, you know, you have a member on KT who's not like, I mean, obviously the Yorick I already mentioned, but like BDD is not controlling the lane. He hasn't picked up any of this gold. It's been Duckdom and Cuz who have really controlled the rest of the game. I mean, BDD has been somewhat of a facilitator, but has otherwise just had a quiet game on the Sandy, so he's not super big just yet. You can see the gold where it is right now for HANWHA Life is in their solo lanes, Zeka and Zeus, and this game is still very playable. It's just, again, we're getting enthusiastic about KT because they're playing this early game so well.
Yeah, you gotta definitely give credit where it's due, but this is by far not over. And this turret, it's gonna go down. So that'll be first turret going over to HLE. That's gonna give them a legitimate gold lead at this point in time. As KT look to grab themselves a Rift Herald. Zeus and Delight in the area though. BDD and Cuz a little wary about how this one's going, especially with Viper rotating up from mid lane. Duckdom and Peter will take a Ardent Blaze.
Zeka does not have teleport. Well, back though, and with a really successful deny of the Herald here from HANWHA Life Esports, they have plenty of time to get him back into the thick of things. This is what I'm most worried about, is the Yorick. Because the Yorick is not in a great spot in this game. Like, he is sitting on components, everyone else has got items completed, at least every non-support, and he's just not going to be able to fight, not going to be relevant, and it's otherwise a 5v4 up here on the top side. Zeka shows up, he's got his ult, he's got flash, and I don't think KT can fight for this.
Yep, let's see whether KT are going to get the memo or not, as there's the Glacial Prison, the combo comes in, Tibbers goes down as well, but Cuz just manages to kill the Ambassador. They go 1 for 1, but it is still HLE with control of the river. That was pretty sexy, I have to say. As 4 versus 5, Perfect is still in the bottom lane, and Peter is not going to be stealing anything away with a Blooming Burst.
They got the teleport out of Zeka, but didn't get the turret. Peter hands on his head for a moment there, but I don't think he really thought he was going to get the steal. As there's a lack of vision here, BDD needs to be respectful.
Yeah.
Luckily for him, this wave is pushing though, but unluckily for him, not enough for him to get the cannon. Perfect got some catch-up minions down there on the bottom lane. They got the kill back onto Zeus, which feels nice, but HANWHA Life are kind of rapidly taking control back of this game, and at this point, you don't have 5 players, they do. And it's interesting that KT still decide to play this with the Tibbers they have on hand. They think they can at least stymie and engage. Maybe they get a multi-man stun, but it's only Zeus who trades his life there. And the objective does go over. They don't get the turret bottom side. And we're going to have to see KT can get themselves a contest on this dragon. Because, again, Yorick is not a champion, and he's not really a side lane threat right now. So, going to be challenging. BDD does have teleport if he needs to get here quickly, and I think he might.
Yeah, this is Soul Point available for KT. But once again, it's a similar position to what we were experiencing last time around. This time, Zeus is split pushing towards his top side, teleport in hand.
Yeah, I feel like KT still somehow were able to just walk up and start this dragon.
Yep, Rift Herald is just going to take down the mid-outer turret, and that is the price that KT are going to have to pay for Soul Point. I think they'll probably pay it gladly, as they will get another charge. Maybe not quite as glad, as we'll see whether a Ghoulie Wall is going to come on through. It's not.
Delight's going to just zoom away with his dash cannon, but I think for KT, you're very happy because, well, might be happier.
Yeah, Viper is just going to get cataclysmed. Flashes out of that one. Does definitely have to do so as the Fates Call comes in. Peter finds the Pop Blossom, and down goes Peanut. Not a whole lot to fight for at this point in time because, of course, the Dragon just went down. Atakan's not up for another 2 minutes' time, so not exactly the most painful death for Peanut, but still, good bit of tempo back for KT.
I mean, HANWHA Life had Herald before the Dragon, and they had the teleport for Zeus, and they just simply let the Dragon go. We're going to watch this catch here, but I think the bigger story, and this is a great play from Cuz, don't get me wrong, I think the bigger story of what happened here, though, is yes, they committed to get the turret topside, they got the turret and the extra charge in mid, but KT gets Soul Point with a Yorick that doesn't have any combat ability whatsoever, and now he's going to get side a little bit here for free, and KT got an objective without having to fight, and I think they're super happy with that, because no matter what, they would not have been able to fight for that Dragon had HANWHA Life Esports just not set up for it. They were so late to drop the Herald. Sure, they traded for turrets, but I think for KT, you're like, wow, they really didn't contest that. And now we have Soul Point. Now we have a bunch of extra time in this game. We have a bunch of extra tools we can play around. So I think KT will be happy. With the gold, no, obviously not, that HANWHA picked up. But with the end result, I think yes.
Oh, 100%. And now you've got Cuz lurking here towards the bottom side of the map. BDD set up with a stun just about prepped.
Zeus knows there's too many people missing.
Yep. Ooh, BDD almost gets out without being seen.
That was a weird silhouette there from Annie. It looked like it was
yeah,
just
it looked
Tibbers.
a lot bigger than you.
Yeah, I was like, he didn't pre-Tibbers, right?
yeah, no, it's still going to be Zeus getting the information, and we'll be all right. 30 seconds until Arakan. That's going to be spawning towards the top side of the map. And we'll see whether there's going to be a setup attempt being made, because still HLE have a gold advantage. It's actually kind of crazy with the fact that this Azir and the Ambessa are so far ahead of their opposition as far as money is concerned. The rest of the map, KT having a slight lead, but it's not quite enough. And it does feel like KT are playing this game as if they have an advantage, but they really just don't. And it's going to get more and more difficult as the game goes on, I feel, with the fact that Peanut is on just a true tank that can start off fights, and Zeka, so much DPS potential on this Azir.
Yeah, I think KT really have to set some traps in this game, frankly. And you know, catches like what we saw onto Viper moments before, those are the kind of plays you need to have to try to stymie you know, the situation, like stem the bleeding a little bit and not just end up losing an insane amount of map control and lose every objective fight. Because he's Jarvan and he has Flash, like if he can hold that and get a steal on this Dragon without having to fight, like that's a big way back into this game for KT. I'm not saying that it's unplayable, and they're only 1,000 gold behind, but it's just the lack of a top laner that is definitely felt here for KT ROLSTER.
Ooh. Peter in a little bit of trouble, but now it's Cuz actually that is almost just taken out, and in fact the burn will be enough. Viper locks down the kill in the end. And losing your jungler right now, a pivotal moment here with the Arakan available, and HLE, they could get an absolutely massive advantage by taking this down, and they know it. They're going to get on the objective immediately.
Yeah, and for KT, you just have to index into trying to take out these turrets, but the mid turret is so healthy.
Yeah, Public Execution brings AS over the wall there as the Fate's Call is going to bring back Peter. Maybe a little bit overly enthusiastic there from the top laner, but still, the Arakan goes down. And that is just stats and experience that KT will not be able to get themselves.
So they end up getting the defense of the top turret here as well. Bottom turret goes down, so 2 turrets here in exchange for Arakan was the plan for KT. They get most of that turret. They end up picking off Zeus, so that's some extra gold they would have gotten had they gotten the turret.
It gives him a bit of extra control though.
Yeah,
right?
no,
because Zeus, I guess he has teleport, so he'll be back on the map in time, but it's 45 seconds until a potential Infernal Soul for KT.
And that lack of, the fact that they were able to save the turret from Zeus' play, which I don't necessarily agree with the play, is significant, like you say, because of the control. Cuz gets taken out here. Nice ultimate there from Viper.
He is going to be very strong.
So this moment here, even though it's not successful at getting the kill, and like it's a really nice Fate's Call, plus Tibbers, all that damage comes through, helps them clear out the wave, and so they can keep that turret alive. And that's significant, because like you said, this Dragon is KT's only thing to fight for. They're catching Zeus!
This would be a better kill, as there's the flash forward from Doctom, so many sticks, and down he goes!
Uh-oh!
Right before the Dragon, and I said the last kill could potentially impact the Dragon. It turns out, yes it could, especially if he dies again as the Flash Tibbers! The repel does come on in though. Peter with the Pop Blossom is fantastic. Empress Divide from Zeka, but he's so low. Perfect going to be able to get on top of the Azir, and Cuz is still fighting. Doctom is massive. Delight manages to get out. Viper as well, but they're not going to be stopping this Infernal Soul. KT?
I mean,
really?
they might have done it, Atlas. I mean, I still think that Zeus is 1-4 in this game. Went Edge of Night, interestingly enough. Didn't notice that until now, but he keeps getting caught, and he went for the aggressive play in mid, sure, saved the turret. But he dies right afterwards, coming back in here with no vision in the river. Like, none. Look at where his teammates are. Nobody's nearby, and where do you think KT is? Their whole game plan, like, the only way KT can win this game is if they get the Infernal Soul. Of course they're going to be there. And just one controller. These are the traps I talked about. You set traps, you spring them, and they catch Zeus again. Maybe just not fully locked in, not fully focused, and was just like, all right, I clear the wave, I join my teammates, we go for a collapse. Just didn't really think about the fact that so many members of KT could be lurking in that brush, and he dies, they win the subsequent fight, pick up a ton of gold. They've now evened the gold up essentially here. They have Infernal Soul, which is going to be a ton of extra combat stats for this composition. And KT have just bought themselves another lease on life. I'm not saying they just won the game, but I mean, with the trend that we are seeing with HANWHA Life, just with these shaky side lane plays, maybe it'll be dominoes continuing to fall here. For HANWHA Life fans, I surely hope not, but KT just keep finding these angles. It feels like we might witness a miracle tonight.
We could. I mean, there still has to be another fight win for KT. As you can see, it is completely even as far as gold is concerned. The items are going to be at complete parity, and there is a lot of scaling potential on HLE's side. But Infernal Soul cannot be underestimated. It is a whole lot of extra power. KT going to be very happy about that one. And they've also just accelerated the game a whole lot faster with the Elder Drake coming up in 4.5 minutes. It's going to be a big deal as Viper thinks he may have found a Peter angle. But the Ghoulie Wall going to stop him there. Look at those majestic little cats.
That's, you know, ult down for Viper, but I don't think it's that significant in this case. And the opportunity there was very high, so to appreciate the attempt. Good play from Perfect to deny any sort of follow-up. Yep, Baron is spawning. HANWHA Life have vision around it, but there is that pesky Scuttle Crab, and I think obviously KT ROLSTER are going to be rushing over here. The problem is they don't have vision on the entry. Like, this is where they can't see, so to actually get to the Baron is very challenging. They have to come in together here, Cuz.
Oh yeah, Cuz actually flagging and dragging. Does walk out of the way of the Arctic Assault, which is kind of a big deal. Peter and Delight just fighting some portal combat there, as we can see, as Zeus looking for where he wants to actually start this battle, and Perfect is the only one up towards that northern side. Yeah, the Tangle Barbs are good. Onto Peanut.
So broken up. HANWHA Life looking for that pick onto Perfect, but almost spit off more than they could chew. And we kind of reset here as KT are finally hoping to get that mid turret. This route onto Peanut will certainly help.
Yeah, KT with eyes on the prize actually able to get this early rotation over, and the bear comes down. Delight in a lot of trouble, but does go up into the sky to keep himself alive. Perfect there with the shovel, able to take this one down as Cuz is battling against Zeus. Zeus gets into the mix, but is immediately taken down. The culling will be cancelled, and that is not the right Nico. Zeka throws out the Emperor's Divide, but it's very defensive, but maybe it's defensive enough as Viper just going ballistic. Doctom gonna go down, and there is the KT throwaway. Ladies and gentlemen, HLE, they picked their moment, and this was about the last chance they had.
Viper said, you know what? I will clean up the fight. I will pop off at the end of it. Oh, those low health bars. Viper goes in for the chase. And once again, Viper will clean up HLE's mess. And KT will not be the first team to punish what has been otherwise a very shaky HLE. And the 11th time in a row. I mean, HLE now going up to 12 wins.
All right, there are 2 minions here. There are a lot of minions here. So Peter, he's going to do his very best to try and defend this, but I don't think he's going to be able to do it. As now BDD comes over, he's flashing forward. Okay, half the health bar on the Nexus. Can they keep it alive is the question, as Viper needs another couple of shots, and it's Zeus that has to do it. The Nexus survives. We are in this game for at least a little bit longer as the counter race comes in.
What an insane game this is turning out to be.
Wait a second. The counter win is not going to happen.
Oh, good spot on that ward.
Yeah, that's a good one.
As that would have been exactly where Zeka wants to go. So it all starts out here with BDD dropping Tibbers right. They end up getting the turret. They stick the landing on this one as Baron is being taken in life, and then there's a collapse onto Zeus in this moment. But then Zeus turns around and Viper has an amazing call here. And then things for KT get a little bit wishy-washy. They're not 100% sure how they want to engage. This Emperor's Divide.
The Blossom does nothing as well.
The Emperor's Divide from Zeka denies it, and Viper just follows through, and he and Zeka do clean up house. And it's HANWHA Life getting the full ace. They are unable to end, though. She watch this back again. Respawn's coming through as play from BDD pushes Viper away, and they get the knock-up onto Peanut. And unfortunately, Ambessa is not quite enough damage. And just gets put in the bouncy castle. Down she goes.
CC from KT, very impressive there in that last moment. I actually thought that a full health Zeus would be enough to get rid of the quarter of a health bar or fifth of a health bar that the Nexus did have, but was just held in place the entire time. So the Baron going to go over to KT. Now they need to wait for their Nexus turrets to respawn though, and this is like the first time where Nexus turrets respawning is a really, really big deal.
So now HANWHA Life have teleport for Zeka. So they're keeping this wave pushing in, threatening. They even have the Sun Disc committed to here, threatening KT with the potential backdoor. So KT always have to be focused on this mid wave and take out these super minions, but that gives them prio for Elder. And weirdly enough, like, I mean, I think that HANWHA Life Esports, if they get Elder, they just kind of walk up with Zeka and hit people, and then the Nexus explodes. But I just don't know if KT can ever win a fight here with the mid prio they don't have. Delight looking to set up a ward into the base. If he actually can get in, this is a great sentinel here by Duckdom. If Delight can drop a ward over the base wall, then Zeka can just TP in and end during the Elder fight. So good tracking there of the Elise. And I mean, he could also end himself if he's given enough time, but
BDD is looking to spot that one out. As you can see here, HLE had started this one up, but BDD has found Delight. He spotted out. It was a cunning ruse, but it's not going to quite work out. There is now Viper looking for Cuz. He just flags and drags and gets himself out. And now Fate's Call going to come on through. Down goes the Nico, but can KT actually find an angle as Peanut goes down? Now the only smite is over the side of KT. The flash forward, down goes Viper. Delight, can you save the game? The Nexus turrets are respawning, and he cannot kill them. Oh no, the itsy bitsy spider, he went up the spout, but he didn't read the patch notes!
Oh no, Delight didn't track those Nexus timers. Down he goes. And look at Zeka on the flank here, but there's no ward in the base. He already TP'd, and he can't get in there either. KT with the team fight win, a near ace, and with the Elder buff in hand, are marching down the bottom lane. They're going to group up here. BDD scouting that flank from Delight, scouting it out, punishing him, then TPing into the fight. And HANWHA Life, I think they tried to get a little bit too tricky here. And KT ROLSTER in a great position to try to end this game now. However, Viper up in 3. They can't kill the Nexus, but maybe they can win a fight with Elder.
Yep, I mean, they've got the Elder Drake, right? So they should be in a good position to win a fight, but it's going to have to be an honest 5v5 to light up in 2 seconds' time.
Peter is holding the mid wave. There is a ward in the main base. Zeus' teleport's coming back soon, so
the problem is they need a minion wave, right? Because the Nexus turrets have now respawned, and so KT are more than safe. It's an honest game of League of Legends once again. But there is an Elder on KT for the next little while.
Fails to kill the Elise, but decides not to chase, and teleports in here. He's the one who decides to push the Elise back, commits the teleport here. Zeka has to use his ult defensively because there's no great setup here. Like, HANWHA Life, super shaky on this Elder take because they're really trying to use Delight's pressure to pull KT back, but KT just don't flinch, man. BDD holds the line, and it's a great re-engage from Peter in the fight. He's super hyped about it.
Yep.
And BDD gets in with the teleport. Delight cannot end before the Nexus turrets come up, so even though he doesn't die, he can't do anything. And HANWHA Life on the back foot again. The game still continues. Elder buff only up for 35 more seconds. KT weren't able to actually find a fight or delete the enemy champions. And maybe HANWHA Life could just stave off the pressure for 30 more seconds here.
Yeah, it's going to have to be a lot of mitigation here from HLE as the mid-inner turret does go down like you were talking about.
Viper's ult.
Yeah, that's just to try and clear out the wave as best they can. HLE is still formidable. And if Zeka can free hit right with these Sand Soldiers, if Viper is able to run amok after some cooldowns are down, the team can still absolutely win.
The Edge of Night tech here for Zeus is pretty interesting because it allows him to engage onto BDD, get his ult out or get his stun out, and then to still actually be relevant right afterwards. He was looking for a flank angle there. It doesn't commit because the rest of his teammates are a little bit cut off. The next wave comes through. So he doesn't commit, but man, this game is giving me serious stress. I mean, this.
Oh yeah. But like, Cuz just bought an opportunity.
Yeah.
He just wants to assassinate people.
And I think that's what he's been doing most of this game, especially the early game.
It feels like a very Cuz item. I don't know whether I necessarily agree with it, but it fits. You know, it fits the theme.
So, GA. Or Duckdom.
Look at his scoreline, man. 13-1-3.
He's having like the series of his life right now, at least in current year. We'll give him that much.
Oh, 100%.
This has been a very back and forth game. The Yorick has just been a non-factor, but KT have shut down Zeus so many times it feels like it's been a 4v4 game with a 2-7 ambassador. This hasn't quite hit the mark yet here for HANWHA Life Esports.
He still feels so scary though. Even though he is a 2-7 ambassador with only like 2.5 items, feels like Zeus still manages to find ult angles. But still,
look at the
he is in the bottom lane right now. And like you were saying, yeah, Jarvan flanks are pretty scary things. He's going to be clearing away Peanut's jungle here over and over again. The Brambleback will go over to HLE, so at least they have a red buff.
Okay, big push here from Zeus.
Do you think KT has enough Baron side control?
I think so.
There's a lot of wards in that area.
Have to win the team fight.
Oh no, Maiden!
Maiden going down.
Oh, there's the culling. That's going to kill the Maiden. So Perfect will not have that. She only just got popped out as well.
They have to find an angle to strike here soon, I think. Yeah, they gave up their control over Baron. I mean, the timer isn't great for them, but they didn't find an angle to get a pick, and now Perfect doesn't have his ultimate.
There's a wave pushing up mid. So KT in a bit of an awkward spot here
look
as
at
the
this
teleport in from
wraparound.
the Ambessa.
Ah, they're not aware of it either.
Well, Doctom is just going to start Baron.
Okay, they do see him.
That's an interesting move. So Zeus is spotted. The rest of KT, they are just
it's
going to commit
Kalista.
to this, I guess. I don't know.
It's a Kalista. The secure is great, but I mean, the fact is, there's
have
a
to go
secure
back.
on your base, and now you're stuck. Now you're stuck here.
Yep, Glacial Prison just thrown into that brush to cancel backs. BDD should be able to get home here, as we can see, but it is going to cost them the inhibitor no matter what. Now the fight is attempted to be started.
BDD got back without using teleport, so he can teleport back into the fight after he defends this.
Well, Tibbers does go down. Man, the Pyroblast doing a lot of damage there. Zeka has to run away from an angry Tibbers.
Okay, they're going to now use this Kalista to try to rush down this Baron. They have all that extra Rin damage. They have essentially 2 smites here. BDD can TP in straight in the middle of this fight, but he's chasing Zeka now.
Yep, Zeus has a good angle as Viper is hitting mainly the Baron right now. The Culling not doing a whole lot of work, as it is going to be the Baron secured by KT. And HLE, they're
do
pausing.
nothing.
They're not quite sure what they want to do in this moment. Fate's Call going to be committed to.
Zeus doesn't commit to anything. He just sits on the flank, doesn't actually commit in, and they were just too far away from the pit, and the heist is successful. BDD doesn't even need to teleport in. They just push Zeka out. They lose their inhibitor, but they have Baron now to try to siege up the base.
This is actually crazy, though. It's one of the first times in one of these clutch moments that HLE have just stalled.
Yeah, and they're so famed for their team fighting. Chronicler mentioned it earlier. They haven't been able to find those fights here. They're the comp that has the team fighting comp. They're not the one with the Yorick. And it's KT running circles around them, I feel, in so many of these big, high-pressure moments.
I don't know.
Does have his ult back up. Elder is respawning.
Maybe the way for Yorick to be a team fighting champion is if he makes the, the Ghoulie Cataclysm Venn
Yes.
diagram. Maybe that's how you do it.
JS this time unseen. This time unseen. They don't know where he is. BD wants to check. Blast Cone taken away. He knows he's likely there.
Yeah. He is now over the wall. He can use this Blast Cone, gets in behind the rest of his team.
Is this just checkmate?
Vesser is wrapping around. Now it's just going to be a 50-50. Peter goes golden, breaks an arm guard there as the Maiden getting amongst it, and it's Cuz that takes down the Elder. Peter will find the Pop Blossom before going down, and Zeus is having to flash out of there. BDD gets over, destroys the Lucian. The Emperor's Divide goes down, but you cannot divide by Dragon. And KT will get the ace, and they are going to win this game.
And HANWHA Life fans not happy. KT rolls to say 50-50 on an L. Do you want to flip it? Doctom likes those odds. When he's got a rend, they have the smite. Cuz secures it. They had full control on Zeus' flanks. Both of them 2 back-to-back. Accomplished nothing on this 3-8 Ambessa. Bit of a jungle gap, I think, in this series. Cuz showing up big. They've been calling him the Dragon Slayer, and he slayed the biggest of them all to
He
end
slayed
the
all
game.
of them.
All
Actually,
5.
every single one.
Or 6.
Only the Otacon, but that's not a dragon. That does not count. And KT join Gen G as one of the only teams to defeat HLE this season. Absolutely absurd.
Huge cheer.